I learned a framework from a person who earned $5 million in the last year and also who has launched his own note-taking app company. And I myself use this process in order to monetize 2 channels. And also I have been using similar approach for my own business in my own native language, which is about Python programming language. And the worst case scenario, when I say worst case scenario, I mean the most terrible thing that can possibly happen is this, that you're going to improve yourself. This is going to be the worst case scenario. So suppose that this figure stick is you and you're going to encounter with different problems throughout your life. So for example, problem number 1, problem number 2, and so on. Let's take an example. Suppose the first problem that you're going to encounter in your life is how to improve your English speaking. Suppose that the problem that you are currently encountering with is, for example, how to improve your English speaking. So for this, you need to go through a 4-step cycle, which starts with the problem itself. So you have a problem and you want to solve it. So this is a cycle and it starts with the problem itself. And after that, you are going, based on this problem, you are going to search for this problem. When I say search, I mean search inside or outside. But what do I mean by search, for example, inside and outside? When I say search inside, I mean, for example, even if you want to, for example, stop procrastination, when you want to stop procrastination, if you refer to yourself, you know a lot of stuff about a lot of things related to procrastination, and you yourself know a lot of stuff about how to stop procrastination. And also for improving your English speaking, you know a lot of stuff for a lot of advices that you have heard before about how to improve your English speaking. So this is the meaning of search inside. I mean, you already know a lot of stuff that you can use and write it down and use them as a list for the possible things that you can do for solving that problem. And when I say search outside, for example, searching on YouTube videos, podcasts, and different things. For example, you're going to binge watch a lot of videos, I don't know, for example, in a week about that specific topic. So this is the meaning of search inside and search outside. And after this research process, after this searching process, then you're going to do a kind of try and error kind of stuff. And after that, you're going to using all of these things that you have searched and a try and error approach, you're going to solve your own problem. And after you have solved your own problem, you are going to document that process. You're going to document how you have solved that problem. And after that, again, you are going to the next problem and so on. So whenever you face a challenge, whenever you face a problem, you are going to go through this 4-step cycle, which is problem, search, solve, and document. And when it comes to documentation, there are 2 possible scenarios. Number 1 is to document in private, and the other one is document in public. What do I mean by document in private? When I say document in private, I mean, for example, you're going to document all the stuff, for example, in your note-taking app. I myself use Obsidian note-taking app, but you can use other note-taking apps such as Notion and these kinds of things. Anyway, so the first option is document all the stuff in private. I mean, for yourself, not for anyone else. And the other option is to document in public. I mean, for example, you're going to share your journey and you're going to share your experience, for example, on social media and different kinds of platforms. So when you document all this stuff in public, it is basically called build in public. This is the terminology that we use. So when you document this process in public, we call it build in public. Anyway, so for example, I myself have done the same thing for this problem, improving my English speaking, and I've published a video about this topic. And as you can see, this person who had a problem and fixed his problem and solved his problem using this 4-step cycle has become a better person and has improved. So he has become a better version of himself. Anyway, and for example, after some time, again, he's going to encounter with another problem. And for example, suppose that problem is note-taking problems. And again, for solving this problem, he's going to go through the same cycle. And for example, I myself, this is the problem which I had, I think, 1.5 years ago. And 1 year ago, I created a separate channel about Obsidian note-taking app. And so I have a separate channel for Obsidian note-taking app as well, because I really love this Obsidian note-taking app. And I have shared my journey and the things which I learned throughout this process. And this channel is going to be monetized this year. Anyway, and for example, I think I learned Python about 6 or 7 years ago. And I have started a business in my own native language about Python programming language 5 years ago. And also, I think 4 years ago, I started a separate YouTube channel as well about Python programming language as well, which is my career. Anyway, so as you can see, as time passes, this person is going to solve his own problems using this 4-step cycle, and he's becoming better and better and better as time passes. And also I want to mention another thing as well. The starting point of this cycle doesn't necessarily need to be the problem. It can be something which you are curious about and you want to learn more about that topic. So the starting point of this cycle can be curiosity as well, and not necessarily a problem. Anyway, so as you can see, we have a problem, then we're going to search, and then we're going to solve that problem, and then we're going to document that. And if this documentation is done in public, it is called build in public. And if you do this process again and again and again, if you do this process, building in public again and again and again, you're going to improve yourself, which is called continuous improvement. And when you are doing this process again and again and again, you are becoming better, and people will notice this. And people, because your problem is not only your problem, there are a lot of other people who has the same problem as well. And they are going to use your documentation, your process, your journey, the documentation of your process as well, in order to solve their own problem, or at least get some inspiration for solving their own problems. So by doing so, by continuous improvement and building in public, and if you do this again and again, constantly, then you are going to become interesting enough for some people, not all people. You're going to become interesting enough for some people to follow you. And after that, you are going to build an audience, and then you are going to monetize this process. And for example, as I've told you, I know a person, which I'm going to talk about him in a minute, that he has used this process, and last year, he earned, I think, $5 million in the last year. And also, he's launching his own note-taking company right now. Anyway, so this is the process which I learned from this person, which I'm going to talk about him in a minute. Okay, now let's talk about the worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is this, that you're going to do all of these stuff all the way up to continuous improvement, but you're not going to become interesting enough for some people to follow you, and you can't build an audience, and you can't monetize this process. So as you can see, this is the worst case scenario. But again, remember that even this problem, this problem that you can't grow on social media on these platforms, is another problem that you need to search for that problem and try to solve it and document that as well. But anyway, the worst case scenario is this, that you're going to do all of these stuff all the way up to continuous improvements, but you can't build an audience around it. So even in this worst case scenario, you're not going to lose a lot of stuff, because you yourself have improved a lot during this process using these cycles, because you have solved your own problems, which you should have done. The only thing that you have done is documenting this process in public. That's it. And this process is usually called one-person business model, because it is about one person, you, who's trying to solve his problems and documenting all of those stuff in public, and probably building an audience and monetizing this process. So this is the reason that it is called one-person business. It means you. That one person is you. And that person, which I mentioned in this video, which I learned a big portion of these materials, not all of them, because I've customized a lot in this process. But anyway, I've learned a lot of these stuff from Danko. And if you were interested in this topic, there are a lot of other things that I can share about this one-person business model. So if you were interested in, please let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video useful, I would really appreciate it if you tap the like button. It's going to help this video with the YouTube algorithm a lot. Anyway, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.